not a state-regulated currency, but more like how to say, a peer-to-peer currency, like they seem to be very popular now, like the Bitcoin, Litecoin, etc. But anyway, created by science and technology, and not easy to manipulate by any entity, or not centrally controlled. And it's still money, so to me it's not good enough, because as long as there is money, there will be power to abuse, and to concentrate in a few hands. But interesting developments are happening, and I guess that money in a way will be even local currencies. A lot of interesting initiatives that are undergoing, that are happening, that are ongoing, are probably part of the transition. And we are human beings. We will get it wrong a few times before we get it right, and hopefully we have the time to get it wrong. I'm worried about the environmental degradation, the ecosystem degradation, the species, the loss of species and biodiversity, and all these kind of things. But there are researchers who claim that this can be remediated, and there are already solutions to improve the soil again, to bioremediate stuff. So I hope that we'll have the time to get it right eventually.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any idea of time span in that? I mean, I've heard all kinds of things from 10 years to 50 years.
I have no clue, my friend. I don't know how much time we have. I know that the ice, in the Arctic Ocean, the ice is disappearing. All that enormous gargantuan mass of ice will not be there in summer, probably by the end of the century, and that scares me a lot, because that stuff has been there for millions of years. So I don't know how much time we have, but that reminds me of a song by the Specials. Enjoy yourself, it's later than you think. Although I wouldn't say enjoy yourself, but increase your consciousness, and let's move forward, because it's later than we think. In a way. So I don't really know. I hope we have time, and I think things are getting better. But there are maybe steps to be taken, and and we need to spread this kind of information. Talking of which, it's maybe totally unrelated. I just got to know very recently that there is a law in the UK being enacted, or it has already been approved, that will basically force, it's about really the internet, it will give the families the choice to switch off pornography from the content they can access from the internet. It's a sort of like a parental control, but made by the ISP itself. And apparently they want to, you can, if you don't say anything, you will have the switch on by default. And then if you say, no, I want some porn, then it's, they will not switch it on. It's, I think, impacts the customers that are with the main providers like BT, TalkTalk, Orange, etc. But I also read that on top of that, pornography thing, they also want to include other kind of information, and that they define esoteric.
I don't like where this is going.
Esoteric website. There's always a catch. Obviously, Cameron claims that he wants to protect families from filth and all that kind of stuff. But apparently, there is a more sinister aspect of it that is, censoring material that somebody doesn't deem fit for, human consumption.
There's always two sides. I mean, it's too obvious if you just make something that's kind of too easy to pick holes in. There's always another side. And I mean, I think porn has always been the Achilles heel of the internet. It's just the fact that it's just open to everybody. I think it's, I mean, again, you hate to sound too paranoid, but if you just think things through a little bit, think logically. If I was in control, what would I want to do? Well, I can use this pornography thing as a kind of smoke screen to start regulating the internet. Unfortunately, if you think about it, you've got to got to think like that. Something just popped in my mind actually, right at the beginning when we were talking about conspiracy theories. Peter Dale Scott was trying to come up with a more balanced and a more moderate phrase instead of this loaded term. And he came up with the deep state. Are you familiar with that, the deep state? Or
the deep state.
The deep state,
I think I heard
sort
it.
of deep geopolitics or something like that.
Is it a state within the state?
I think what it means is that it's defined as the myriad processes that go on behind the scenes, beyond the reality, the obvious, shallow reality that we're fed in the mainstream. It's all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, which creates what we see, creates the events what we see. So essentially the deep state is just saying looking deeper and trying to look at what the things which are hidden, which create what we are fed information wise. That's what I was going to say. So think about the deep state or the alternative research or deep geopolitics. Geopolitics is a good one to think of, but just looking deeper, that's all it is really. It's not to do with paranoia, and of course there are crazy people out there, but it's not to do with that. It's just about looking deeper, trying to look one step, questioning the world.
If things make sense, and if they don't, try to look into them and try to understand what can be improved.
And conquering fear as well, because fear is so much a part of it. They say fear is the four-letter word that rules the world. The four-letter word beginning with F.
Yes.
Not the obvious one, but that. Okay, we're going to go seamlessly from Peter Joseph and Stefan Molyneux onto the Venus Project, Jack Fresco. I'm going to play Avvocato del Diavolo. Is that right?
The Devil's Advocate. Italian is splendid.
Oh yeah, got a few phrases.
The Devil's Advocate.
The Devil's Advocate. Now the Venus Project is a resource-based economy, the eradication of money.
Yes.
Now, the Devil's Advocate would say, how hell are you going to get everybody to start being nice to each other and, live in this quote-unquote utopia where you don't have money and everybody's... It's like a small... I liken it to taking a small community, where people trade with each other, and there's a sort of culture of trust, integration and trust, and expanding this out to the world. But someone said, well, imagine if you sold the West on this idea, and that everyone in the Western world suddenly changed their perspective of trying to siphon off each other and trying to gain differential advantage to being quote-unquote nice, Then the East, China, Japan, would take advantage of that. So how do you transition to get everybody in on this? And then the other one would be Marxism with robots. It's Marxism with robots. So I don't know, would you like to try and answer those?
Let us try to explore these two very valid objections, well, at least surely quite widespread objections, I would say. Well, how do we get to cooperate? That probably is.
How do we change the mindset?
How do we change the mindset?
Yeah.
And I think that we can only get there through education, as you can probably understand. What is proposed by the Venus Project and the Zionist movement cannot be implemented today in a monetary economy. It wouldn't work, because of the pressures that exist in a monetary economy to compete and to antagonize one another. So you can't have this word of cooperation on a very large scale if you are in a monetary based economy that is based on debt, at least in this form of money, and this market forces and this structural violence that is reinforced. So I think the first stage in the transition to this economic model is education. Is really understanding actually the system, and understanding its shortcomings, and understanding also how we can actually switch to more successful models that do benefit everyone.